Good morning, gang. Welcome to day 2 of distance learning, 2021 edition. Yesterday, of course, was your test day, and for the most part, you guys took care of business, got it taken in and turned in on time. There are about, at this point, early this morning, about 15 people that don't have it turned in, so I'll be reaching out to those people individually to find out what's going on, because at this point, technically, I would consider that late. So, that's not what you want to start off with, right? Right. Okay. As promised, we're going to kick into the next topic today. So on your Google Classroom, you will find the PDF packet for the notes that we're about to go through here on the board. We'll give you a couple of ideas here when it comes to how this is going to work. You have your journals at home. We passed them out before you went back home the other day. Now, you're going to have the PDF. You're going to have your journal. You're going to have me go through this. So what you are going to be able to do is obviously on the video, pause as you catch up with what I'm saying, that's an option, or to just go ahead and write everything into the journal that is up on the PDF. But you don't have to do that. I'm going to be, as I go through this, telling you what you need to add in on your journal over this topic, okay? Because some of the stuff, you know me, I like to give a little bit of examples that sometimes aren't necessarily needed, okay? So, let's get it started. In your table of contents, you need to be adding up topic 8. Topic 8 is, of course, going to be your coordinate plane, and it's going to go on for a little bit, probably through the entire continued outside distance learning that's going to happen here. But for now, we're going to run as if you're here. I'm talking to you directly, not a camera, which is awkward for me, but we're going to move on. Coordinate plane. Get started. Let's go with a nice example. Do not need to write this, okay? So let's imagine if you were here in school, that you were sitting at your desk, and your desk suddenly started to just expand. And let's not even think about the fact that it's going through you at this point and through your friends, but it's going outside of the area it's in currently. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. So it's going out in all directions equally and keeps growing past the walls of this room, past the town, onward and onward. All of a sudden, it is now the only thing that's out there. It's a flat surface that goes out in all directions. That's where you have a plane. That's the most generalized version of an example I could give you. Okay. So we, of course, don't like chaos. So when we have a plane, we want to be able to figure out where stuff is on the plane, right? Okay. Well, now we want you to start writing. Okay. So you have coordinate plane on the big top head here, and then right below it, we start here. Mathematics. A plane is a flat surface that goes on forever in every direction. We, in the math world, particularly in the world of algebra, don't worry, not a scary word as much as you want to believe it is, we call it a coordinate plane for a particular reason. This part right here, coordinate. Because, as I said, we want to make sure we know how to find stuff on this open, vast plane that's out there of existence. Okay? Now, keep writing. The coordinate plane, divided by 2 number lines. One horizontal, it's like number line you already know. It rolls in both directions now that we understand that there's something on the other side of the 0. Thank you, integers. Or you can curse integers, as you probably are. So we have the negative side, we have the positive side. That's one of our lines that helps cut through the plane to be able to locate where stuff is. Right? All right. Also, there's a vertical version. It's as if the horizontal line suddenly just kind of went up. Okay, so now it's vertical. That's the second line we have. It goes up and down, where up becomes the positive, down becomes the negative, right? Past 0 again. So, let's put that together, and here we go. Your coordinate plane. So we have our negatives, and we have our negatives, and we have our positives, and we have our positives. And then, of course, smack in the middle, they cross over at a certain point. We call it 0. Obviously. So, on this coordinate plane, it's going to be filled with all kind of points. It's like chicken pox here. They're spreading. I've got to scratch it. Spreads more. Scratch more. Spreads more. All of a sudden, it keeps spreading. It's really hard to start seeing the words now. What's going on there? Oh my goodness. Yeah, so points are out there. Somewhere among all these points, we have to know where it begins. And where does it begin? Well, it's called the origin, right? The origin is the point where the 2 number lines meet. So where they cross, because it only happens once, is the origin. Bam. Smack in the pretty dot right there. That is your origin. As I already said, we have the two number lines. They have names. Our first one is the horizontal number line. The horizontal line is known as the x-axis. The x-axis is the horizontal, the traditional number line. Your vertical, the one that's going up and down now, is given the y-axis. So you have x and you have y. They're both axis. Axis? The axis. No, it's axes. Because the plural of axis is axes. So the coordinate axes help us locate points on the coordinate plane. Studying points, we need to know where to find it. That's when we give it the concept of the coordinates. Our coordinates locate where items are on the coordinate plane. Okay? Coordinates, it's like an address. Think about where your home is, where the school is. It lets you know exactly where to find it, so we can plug it into the Waze app. Waze all of a sudden goes from a giant plane of craziness into a location finder. That's what coordinate planes do for us. Okay, tell you how you can get to the point if you start at the origin. By the way, you've been writing all this, right? I hope so, because I didn't say stop. Good. All right. Coordinates, always written with parentheses with the x value first. And this is one of the most important things that you have to figure out and come out of the coordinate plane system about. One of the most important, right here. The format. This format does not change. If you put this in the wrong format, it becomes wrong. Parenthesis, x, comma, y, parenthesis. You have to put it that way. If you change the way that you put it and you do yx, and then there's no parentheses, you're not giving us a coordinate. You're giving us something that has come out of your brain that is not the right thing. Parenthesis, x, comma, y, parenthesis. Parentheses. Parenthetical? Anyways. So, this format, you got to make sure you know this format because it's very important to be able to correctly plot points. Coordinates written, ordered pair. That's what you call this. Ordered pair. Ordered pair because it's in the proper order. This is a universal thing. Any place you go that does math, which of course in our world is everywhere, whether you like it or not, this is considered the ordered pair. Parenthesis x, comma, y, parentheses. Yeah, I keep saying it. I know. I'm going to keep saying it because that's very important. Very, very important. Okay, so let's imagine we're trying to locate a point. And our point here is 4, comma, negative 2. So we're going to take that, and that 4 is telling us where to go on the x-axis. So we are going to take a little journey as the little system has already started for me. So we go from the origin. It's called the origin because that's where you start. That's right. Point of origin is always where it begins. So you plot out. It's a positive 4, so we're going in a positive direction 4 steps. We get there. We're happy. Then we have the second point. The second point is the negative 2. Negative 2 is now the y coordinate. So in that situation, what's going to happen is that tells us which way up or down, right? Y coordinate, y-axis. So since it's in negative 2, we are going to go downward 2 steps, and we find our point. And we mark our point with the coordinates that we just located. Sometimes there is a letter associated with it, or a symbol. Put that there too. So when you're locating the coordinate on the coordinate plane, bammo, you've got it. You follow the order. X, comma, y. X, horizontal. Y, vertical. Okay? Got it? You good? Not messing you up so far? Alright. So, when we're talking origin, the origin has a designated ordered pair. Really difficult. Write this down 20 times if you have to. Oh my goodness. 0, 0. Are you real? Yeah. So that's your origin. Your point of origin's ordered pair is obviously going to be 0, 0. We getting this now? Ordered pair x, comma, y. So the x 0, y 0. Got it. Wonderful. I'm so glad. Okay, so our two number lines actually take this coordinate plane and actually, obviously, create unique sections, right? We give these sections names, these four regions. They're going to be called the quadrants. Okay, your quadrants are labeled old school. I mean, like ancient. I mean, not prehistoric, but really, really, really old school. Roman numerals, in fact. Yes, you may remember those are. Maybe you don't. Oh, do you guys still learn Roman numerals? Anyways, you can find it on YouTube or Google, whatever. But the Roman numerals are what we use to identify our four quadrants on the coordinate plane. And it goes, as I just showed you, counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. And where do we start? The one that you should have known already. So obviously you probably did some stuff with quadrants or coordinate planes before, I would hope, in this region. This region gives you a positive x and it gives you a positive y. So that becomes our quadrant 1. And it's marked with the Roman numeral I. I stands for 1 in Roman alphabetical numerical. There you go. So everything in quadrant 1 is going to be positive. Any coordinate, any ordered pair is obviously going to be positive because it's a positive. It's a positive, right? Good. So boom, we got our 1. That's quadrant 1. Quadrant 2, yes, we went backwards, didn't we? I told you. Counterclockwise is where we're going to go. So quadrant 1, moving into quadrant 2. In quadrant 2, we have a mix. So what happens, obviously, is our x becomes a negative value, right? Because it's going to be on this side of the number line. However, our y is a positive still. So we get a negative, positive, any negative positives, any negative x, listen to me, any negative x, positive y will always be in quadrant 2. Okay? Quadrant 3. I told you, you guys are each in unique situations. And once you figure this part out, it's going to be a lot easier to figure out coordinates on the coordinate plane. Positive, positive. Negative, positive. Negative, negative, right? Okay, here we go, y. The x, again, negative side. It's going in the backward side, right? The y is also now going downward. It's like you're going into the earth. You're going down into the basement. You're going into a negative world. So it becomes a negative, negative in quadrant 3. See what's happening. Again, counterclockwise. Quadrant 3. Finally, we hit the last one, which was a quadrant 4. Quadrant 4 gives us a positive negative mix because our x becomes a positive number, but then our y goes down. So we have a positive x and a negative y. In that world, that's quadrant 4. Okay, so let's take a second here. As I said, Roman numerals. You may be familiar with them, you may be not. This is one of those weird little, they hang on to it still at this point in math. But when it comes to identifying your quadrants, they like the Roman numeral. Okay, we, all, teachers and mathematicians and educators in the math world. Your quadrants are identified with these Roman numerals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that little V gets a little tricky, doesn't it? Anyways, we'll get it. Now we probably won't get into it. Anyways, we're going to stop here. I think this is a good part 1. I've already spent a little over 10 minutes with this, and that's fine. That's a good start. I know normally it takes the entire class time, but I usually have to wait on you guys to write. So obviously I can go at my own pace, and you can just pause whenever you need to, or obviously follow along in your PDF. All right. No homework today. Straight up, just copy notes. I know most of you are going to keep on going through the entire packet, but guess what? Tomorrow, I am going to continue the packet in a lecture form, and then there's going to be a worksheet to work. So be ready for that. All right. Hopefully everything's going well. Keep working. 2nd, 4th, and 6th hour, I'll be talking to you this morning, and this afternoon, I guess. 10, 11, and 1. We're going to do our Google Meet just to kind of get a state of how you're doing. It's not going to be long ones, I promise. So we'll see you then.